Guys, Phil Monteleone, the book peddler, come to you with a YouTube video. If you're new to the channel, you can like and subscribe, stay up to date on book picks and store out-store activity, whole mess stuff surrounding my life as a used bookseller. I appreciate all your support out there. I've been sicker than a dog since the beginning of this year, so I haven't put out any content. I've barely answered emails, but I'm getting back on my feet. You can obviously hear it a bit in my voice, so I'm getting there. We're going to head to one of my storage lockers right now to clear out more material and fill this bad boy. I processed about 15 boxes from the locker this week, so I'm going to take you to the material. Excellent material. It was purchased at the beginning of summer after the punk pick. I just didn't have room for it. There was also thousands of DVDs. There were all sorts of cool stuff here. Very quickly, because I got to hit the road, I can't drive out my glasses. So, the guy was a member of the John Birch Society, and so were his friends, the couple that I've become friends with. They're great people. They're helping clear out his material. He got sick and died. It was in storage for a while. Now, how did I get this pick? I got this through a radio ad, believe it or not. When I was opening up the Red Building down the street, I decided to run some radio ads. Just keep in mind, a lot of people, said radio's dead, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I would agree on the large scope of things, but also maybe keep in mind, though, the reason why I tried it is because there's still an older demographic that the radio is still relevant to, and they listen to different radio shows and stuff like this. And that's what I was running my advertisement on. And that's how I got the pick. So it worked out. It paid for itself. So, it was an option I explored, and it worked out well. What do I got to say? This individual was a member of the John Birch Society. For those unfamiliar, the Birch Society was created after World War II. Very anti-communist, pro-Christian values. There's wonderful material in here, from the horse's mouth, technocrats, Fabians, you name it. Zbigniew Brzezinski, Dodd, all these figures. It's excellent material. If you want to see it as it goes up on my eBay site, it's Book Peddler Phil in the description. I'm going to take you to the storage units, and we're going to get the rest of this out and then get into it when we get back to the shop. It'll be a lot of fun. Hope you enjoy the show, guys. All right, so in the beginning of the video, I was on the way to the storage unit, and here I am. I'm going to break from the shop action. I got through a lot of this, and now I'm going to hit these ones in the back here. I know hopefully there's some good stuff in there. Anything good, I'll take out and show the camera. So like I said, we'll take a little break from the shop. It's turned out to be a beautiful day out here, thank God. Favorite pastime, doing some donuts in the parking lot. If I had a cameraman, I'd show you the action, show y'all how us swamp Yankees get down in upstate New York. But all right, enough of the nonsense. Get to this unit, file through it, show you the goods, and we'll get a move on, all right? All right, let's just do a little live picking, huh? Let's just see what we got going. Gunpowder plot, might as well. What's this? The Rape of Poland. Andrew Jackson in his Indian Wars. Here's a couple I put aside. Our Firemen, the History of New York Fire Departments. Mussolini. Decisive Battles. I'm just grabbing books, basically. There's great reading copies. Like, even if they're not worth a lot online, or they're, $15, $10 books, I'll put them in the Red Building. Circle of Intrigue. Tex Mars. All right. British campaign against the people of Acadia. That's interesting. You ever hear the song Acadian Driftwood by the band? The London Monster. Let's see. Lindbergh. Martin Van Buren. Abraham Lincoln. Rudyard Kipling. It's good. A lot of biographies on different authors that I like. All right, here's a 7-part series on military Cold War education and speech review policies. Is put out by the Committee on Armed Services. This box is pretty dusty. These are protected. Look into them a bit. The Lindbergh case. Let's see what this one I found some Stephen King, Laura Ingalls Wilder's. Here's it. Stephen King sells very good in my shop. Hey guys, so a few days after me going to the unit, and you saw me filing through things, and before we get started on me taking the table and showing you this stuff, I want to just bring your attention, because as mentioned in the introduction to this video, the folks were all members of the John Birch Society, and here's a book, The Life of John Birch, written by Robert Welch Jr., who was a co-founder, and he signed this one, so this is my copy I'm going to be reading. But Birch himself was a Baptist minister, military intelligence. He was a member of the OSS, and he was murdered by Chinese communists. And so that's who the society's named after. John Birch Society is, it's very pro-Constitution, pro-Bill of Rights. Anything that threatens America in its sovereignty, they're against, foreign and domestic. So NAFTA trade agreements, the United Nations, the Federal Reserve System, I mean, all these kind of things. Did I say NAFTA? So all these kind of things, they're very much opposed to. And I think there's American as apple pie. They don't agree with or believe in globalism. So anyhow, that's where this material is coming from. And they're also very pro-Christian based, Christian principles. Okay, let's start with this book here. I've referenced this a number of times. Death by Government by R.J. Rummel. So Death by Government is called democide. And, a lot of people have this narrative that religion is the number one cause of death among populaces. It's actually big centralized government, like Stalin, Mao, Hitler, Pol Pot, been responsible for the deaths of millions of people in their own country. So this is a study of this by Rommel, however you say his name. He's a Hawaiian professor. Great book. Sells well. It's like a $30, $40 book. And it covers this topic, one of the authorities on the topic. Okay, anytime you see Bella Dodd, pick up her book. School of Darkness is one of the key books. Dodd was a part of the Communist Party USA. She was also a Catholic, and she started having conflicting issues with the two religions, basically. And she saw the infiltration of communism and collectivist ideology coming into the Catholic Church, corrupting it. I believe this may have been in the 30s. I haven't read this book, but vaguely familiar with the premise. Norman Dodd is a big name in this field, and the person that I bought the lot from used to go on speaking tours with Dodd. I'll talk about him in a minute. Any documented cover-up books like this one, Vincent Foster, a lot of mystery surrounding his death, a lot of allegations. I believe it was possibly the Clintons that were involved in his murder. This is called Failure of the Public Trust, FBICoverup.com. And this is documenting the circumstances, the cases, anything like this is really good to pick up. People researching this stuff would love to have something like this. This is a key book to have in the library of those who are bringing in world government. There's a big new Brzezinski. His accolades are really far-reaching. I believe he was Obama's foreign advisor. He's been in a number of significant positions in this country. This is America's role in the technotronic era. He's written The Grand Chessboard, and Brzezinski basically is a technocrat, and this book is all about kind of controlling large populations. I'll show you some of the content here. Controlling large populations through the uses of technology and bringing them into what are called now kind of as well like smart cities, Agenda 21, getting people off the land into large cities. It's the next revolution, the technocratic revolution. We went from farming to industrial, and service, and the next is technocratic. So between two ages, this is the book to own from him. There was also a ton of books on people who were placed in communist gulags. And stuff like this is always kind of an interest to me in how people survived them. So here's one, Tortured for His Faith, Harlan Popov. And I have a bunch of this stuff. Here's The Anti-Humans. Wasn't familiar with this title, but this book is like a $200 book. Let me read this real quick. In these pages, translated from the Romanian, the reader will, for the first time, have at his disposal a fairly complete account of Bolshevik techniques of dehumanization, including some details here mentioned as delicately as possible. So, a lot of these guys, and currently today, like Naomi Parker, if you've heard of her, who came from North Korea. There's also different defectors. When you listen to them speak, who live in this country now, they are very concerned of the way that the this country has been on a trend following in the footsteps of their collectivist countries, authoritarian countries. They kind of see parallels in government, and again, you can go back, refer this book of, big centralized governments and its dangers or potential dangers. Okay, let's get into Alfred Kinsey. Alfred Kinsey, his so-called studies are a big reason. Basically, they were before the sexual revolutions, but they influenced a lot of people's outlooks on sex and their ideologies around it. And Judith Reisman here is one of the authors who has done significant research on Alfred Kinsey and uncovered a lot of disturbing stuff. Kinsey, for his research purposes, hold on, I'm going to cough again. Kinsey's book on, I believe it's specifically on male sexual behavior. If you find it in first edition, it is a very valuable book. But basically, some of the graphs, I'm not going to get very graphic here with you because this is my YouTube channel. I'll just show you the contents page. Basically, they're hiring adults who who were basically doing inappropriate studies with children, put it that way. They were known violators, and it was quite disturbing. Reisman uncovers a lot. She also uncovers how damaging, this has been to society as a whole. Kinsey was, I believe, financed by the Rockefeller Foundation. Very disturbing material. Reisman recently died, but I listened to her talk a number of times, and just a wonderful woman who really did her due diligence of research and notated all of her work. So there was a lot of pushback on stuff that Reisman was doing, but very brave woman to basically keep forging ahead in uncovering the pseudoscience that Kinsey was collecting. Actually, if you'll allow me a second, and you will because it's my channel. In 1948, the Institute, I should just read the cover, the Institute for Sex Research at Indiana University was led by eugenicist Alfred C. Kinsey, whose sex research shook America's moral foundations and launched the 60s sexual revolution. 50 years later, new revelations confirmed Dr. Judith Reisman's 1981 expose of scientific fraud and criminally derived data contained in the publicly funded Kinsey reports. Kinsey conducted human experiments in a soundproof laboratory built to his specifications of Indiana University, and that the sexual abuse of at least 317 infants and young boys was a specific protocol for Kinsey's 1948 report. Also, look into eugenics works. Very important stuff. Let's keep pulling out some of these books. The Grand Chessboard by William Carr. Great book, kind of talking about world domination. We're all pawns in the game. There's William Carr right there. And there you go. Real great stuff. That's a quick sell. And more Soviet prison work. Okay. I got another book to show you. A kind of rifle. Let's see here. Okay. Anytime you see Cleon Skousen, The Naked Capitalist. He also wrote The Naked Communist. His books expose big industry, being involved with communist ends, financing communist governments, which might be hard to understand, but there's many of documentations. Anthony Sutton, who I believe was a Stanford professor, follows the money. He does show basically how the West has financed many of these revolutions throughout the world. Okay. Anything like this, good, Sham. Social change through contrived crisis. Communist America, must it be? Legal terrorism. Secret side of history. Okay, here's one for you. Anything you find written by Alice Bailey. Lucius Publishing. It used to be Lucifer Publishing. Alice Bailey's works are sought after occult fields of study. I actually have a box of her books. I forget her husband's name. They're on prominent boards. This is a treatise on cosmic fire. Anything like this usually maintains and holds pretty good value. I'll take you to a couple boxes here in front of me as well. Here you go. Christian slaves, Muslim masters, white slavery in the Mediterranean, the Barbary Coast, 1500 to 1800. Good historical book. It's like almost a no-no topic to talk about anymore. People don't like addressing it. Immanuel Velikovsky, Ramses II. I like Immanuel Velikovsky. I think these books are good to pick up today. And possibly, if you're speculating, could be worth a little bit of more money than they are now in the future. America's Second Crusade, William Henry Chamberlain. Yalta yesterday, Korea today and tomorrow. Allied wartime diplomacy, Peddler in Poland. Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Cremo. Good stuff. Let's see. Roosevelt, Churchill, and World War II opposition. Here's some work by Phyllis Schlafly, another good author. And here you go, New Lies for Old by Anatoly Golitsyn. Golitsyn was a Soviet defector. This in first edition used to be worth quite a bit of money. I think people have caught on to it. And now the market has a lot of this material coming out. He also wrote The Perestroika Deception, which might still be a scarce publication. But I believe Golitsyn was like 90% accurate. Insane what was going to be going on in the West. So you can pause it and read the jacket or go look it up. I have a couple copies of his book. Very interesting stuff. Any booklets like this, I usually scoop up rather quickly as well. You'll find them in many different places. Beyond Cloning, or surprising places. Will man create man in the image of man? Magog. People eat these up. And there's that sick freak Kinsey. You read Reisman's book, this guy should have been hung by the neck, and all of his researchers. I also found piles of DVDs, bags of DVDs. I'm going to show you right now. And then also books that are kind of out of context to the collection. But real quick, the individual who sold me this material, him and his wife are wonderful people. And he used to go on speaking tours and set them up with authors that I've shown. Bella Dodd being one. Yuri Bezmenov, another, who was a Soviet defector. His talk went viral on YouTube. And I highly encourage you to look it up. I'll put a card here, if I can, linking you to his video. But he was specifically sent to India to destroy, corrupt, uproot the culture of India. And he talks about the mechanisms that are used. Very interesting stuff. And this individual knew these people, was a part of this organization for many years. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's an apple pie, Mama's Apple Pie organization. There's some wonderful people I've met throughout the years involved with them. So let me show you some other stuff. That's a brief background. This collection also consisted of thousands and thousands of DVDs and CDs. And I couldn't just chuck them. So basically, I took them all. And that's a part of the reason why I'm opening up a physical media room in the upstairs of my red building now. So it's starting to be created. My good buddy Ray, shout out to Ray if you're watching, has been a driver in that. So that's being built out right now. It probably won't be ready this coming year, but it will be in the future. So in the near future. So wonderful, wonderful materials. And let me take you to some of this right now while we're on the, the stuff on world government, global governance. Check out these bags of audio and VHS. Black Science by Tex Mar, a big figure in this kind of research. I'll take you all VHS. Oklahoma City, what really happened? Let's see what this is. Messages from Hell, a conversation with Black Panther and hijacker Tony Bryant. See, some of this stuff, actually, I've tried to look up. The Capitalist Conspiracy, an inside view of international banking. I've actually looked this stuff up and can't even find it online. Revolution by Treaty, that's put out by John Birch. And so what I might do is take some of this stuff, put it on DVD, Evolution Conspiracy, Atheistic Faith, parading a scientific fact. So I might, I'm just going to pull these out. I might put these on DVDs and, offer them up to the public, basically. What this is. Soviet subversion of the free world press. It's on the United Nations. Another guy to read on this is G. Edward Griffin. This individual who sold me this stuff knew G. Edward Griffin, who's still alive. Global warming, fact or fiction. So, in case you weren't familiar, this stuff's been talked about for a very long time. The global warming aspect. Out of controlled immigration invasion. So, yeah, as you can see, tons of material. There's impeach Clinton now. Let's see. Try to move a little quick for you. Mideast masquerade. More than a right, the right to bear arms. Premeditated merger. Africa and the New World Order. So it's funny because a lot of this New World Order stuff, they used to, everybody would damn it saying, conspiracy. Well, when I went to college, I took courses on globalism, and people were still saying it didn't exist. It's hilarious. Let's see what this is. I mean, if it's not clear by this point that we're tied in internationally heavily to other countries and have been for years, I don't know what to tell you. Whether that's good or not is another thing. Okay, John McManus, president. He was the individual I bought these off of. Very good friends with McManus. Let's see. A couple more. Freedom on the Altar. The UN's crusade against God and family. Cool stuff. Who's Bill Clinton? All right. Let's stand up. So check out my shop. Just an absolute disaster zone. This is what I'm working through. It's unbelievable. Now, there was tons of great books that just aren't good enough to sell online, but they're going to do great in my red building. Clean books. I'll just show you. Great titles. Predominantly all nonfiction. And, I sell the books over there a piece for $4 a piece, hardcover and soft, or buy 10 for $3. Let's show you some of this. And paperbacks are $1. Buy 10 for 50 cents. You can't find a better deal out there. But great material, clean material. Just doesn't quite fit the bill of what I'm selling on eBay. Some of it might, but you know what? I like to try to keep my people happy in the red building, and these will be on the shelves soon. Now, let's take you some out-of-context material. And if you're still watching, guys, thank you so much. Consider subscribing. I have some out-of-context material. It's stuff like this that's always very interesting when you find it, because it's almost like it was a mistake that it was there. But it's really cool. And who knows, you might have picked it up at a sale somewhere. Let me find it. So I'm going to show you this right here. The Negro at Home cloth boards. Unfortunately, he put his book plate on the inner cover there. I'll show you this. This is a very scarce book. Read your full title. Negro at Home, an inquiry after his capacity for self-government and the government of whites, for controlling, leading, directing, or cooperating in the civilization of the age in its material, intellectual, moral, religious, social, and political interests, and the objects of society and government, the business and duties of our race, the offenses of legislation by Lindley Spring, 1868. Very good condition book, not illustrated or anything. But Lindley was a Presbyterian minister from what I've read. He was actually let go of by the church, and he's asking questions about basically can blacks govern over whites? Can they even govern themselves in this system that was created, or should they be? Do their what's the word I'm looking for? Does their culture does it allow for it? Basically, are they able to? Proclivities, that was the word I was looking for. So that was a big issue for Lindley. Very scarce book. And it's interesting, a lot of the founders, the one thing that they said, I specifically remember from Sun Bak Kim, professor at Albany, amazing teacher. Actually, he was a North Korean defector, so it was amazing listening to him, his view on this government and the creation of this country. But Kim said that the founders said that one of the big issues that the future would have to solve for the next generation was this issue of slavery. A lot of them didn't agree with it, but they didn't have a viable solution. They thought about sending them back to Africa, some of them, because they said, how can people basically, can they effectively be worked into this system? So very interesting, though. I found that interesting. So if anybody would like that book, reach out to me and I'll do a nice deal. Let's show you this other material. Sorry, I'm not on the crane anymore because I snapped a piece off of it, but Thomas Sowell. Tons of Thomas Sowell in here. I'm keeping most all of it. I think he's one of the greatest thinkers of our time. If you find this man's work, pick it up. Professor of, Stanford, Georgetown, does tons of work on culture. Well-researched, amazing stuff. YouTube him if you like. Other cool stuff that was really out of context. Okay, here's a defector, Chinese defector. IQ's the Maoist regime before the whole world. You find this stuff, pick it up. Buddhist stuff, which was really, really interesting. Now, I can't even find reference to these guys, these swamis, right? Some of them are signed. I can't find, they're just very, very interesting. So I'm going to sit with these for a minute, look through them, kind of try to figure out what I have. But let's see when this one was published. There's some notes. Put that there. 1970, The Self is One. Neat stuff. Mahatma. Oh, I'm going to put this back. Book with Gandhi. Then there was also, I have tons of documented, stuff. Some I have like congressional hearing documents, but let's see what these ones are. Communist exploitation of religion. Testimony. What we must know about Overstreet. Edward Janisch. See, again, like communist materialism versus spiritual rehabilitation. So really neat stuff. Let's see what this one is. Lawyers Without Law. There's a lot of law books. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, and if you're still with me and you're not subscribed yet, I hope you do so. I'm getting better. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful winter and it's getting a little bit warmer out like it is here. It's trying to. It's cold as heck right now, but anyhow, like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to start trying to fire out a lot more content, get myself caught back up with listings and work. I got a boatload on my hands, but yep, I'm ready for it. Let's get it done. All right. Take care, guys. Till I see you next time. Okay. Have a good one.